Rembrandt van Rijn by Alex Creekmur. Rembrandt was born in the Netherlands in 1606. He studied Latin and biblical studies at a school in Leiden, where it is believed he dropped out to pursue a life as a painter. Rembrandt was trained as a painter from 1620 to 1625 under two different masters, the first of which was Jacob van Swanberg. Here he learned basic skills like shapes and shading. Swanberg specialized in scenes of hell and the underworld. It is believed this is where Rembrandt first learned how to draw fire and how it bounces off of different shapes and objects. Rembrandt's second master was Pieter Lastman, who was well known as a historical painter. Here it is most likely where Rembrandt learned his famous style of artwork. After completing his studies, Rembrandt moved back to Leiden and started many of his first paintings, many of which strongly represented those of his previous masters. Many themes that are depicted in Rembrandt's paintings are biblical, historical, and mythological themes. He focused on human experiences and even intertwined them with deeper personal meanings. Many common themes involved love, sin, repentance, adultery, fatherhood, and conflicts between generations. My first image is titled Ascension. It was made in 1636 and it is oil on canvas. This painting depicts Christ rising back to heaven after his resurrection. This second piece is titled Balaam and the Ass. It is oil on canvas and it was painted in 1626. This is one of Rembrandt's first and earliest pieces. For those of you who don't know the story, I'll paint a word picture. Balaam is a heathen prophet, summoned by King Balak to curse Israel. On his way to Balak, his she-ass refuses to walk 3 different times, because an angel blocks the road. Balaam does not see the angel and strikes the donkey. After the 3rd beating, the God of the Hebrews speaks, saying, "What have I done to you?" At this point, Balaam repents for his sins and devotes his life to the Hebrew God. This third image is titled David's Farewell to Jonathan. It was painted in 1642 and it is oil on panel. Jonathan and David were very good friends, and that was great, but Jonathan's father was the king, and he thought that David was threatening Jonathan's rightful path to be king someday. So he ordered that his men kill David. So likewise, David had to run for his life. Image number 4 is an etching done in 1657, and it is titled Jesus Preaching. This painting is tied directly to a passage in the Bible, and that passage is Luke 4:20, where Jesus was preaching in a local house, and there were so many people in the house that they had to flood out into the room, and the people would stand in the hot sun just to hear him speak. My fifth and final image is an etching done from 1634, and it is titled Joseph and Potiphar's Wife. Even though this isn't a painting, I feel as if it represents Rembrandt's style of art best. Many of his common themes, such as adultery, love, and sex, are present. This piece even ties in with Rembrandt's deep religious roots. The story goes like this. Before the Hebrews migrated to Egypt, a man by the name of Joseph was a slave to a very powerful man named Potiphar. One day, Potiphar's wife walked up to Joseph and asked that he might sleep with her. Joseph, being a religious man, decided this was morally not right for him to do, so he turned and ran. Potiphar's wife was appalled by this action, and she reached out and grabbed his cloak, in which she proceeded in taking to her husband, at which point she said that Joseph tried sleeping with her, and this ultimately got Joseph thrown in jail. Now this picture has more going for it than you may think. The implied lines and use of shading create a sense of tension between the two characters. The use of shading on the right side of the piece, I believe, shows that Joseph is trying to escape the darkness and return to the light. The emphasis of this etching is on the hand of Potiphar's wife, which is grabbing Joseph's cloak, which ultimately puts him in prison. Rembrandt is a great Renaissance painter and etcher who really caught history on the canvas.